What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the financial chapter. Thank you so much for all the support that I've been getting on my last video. I really appreciate it. Now, some of you might know from my last video that I ran into some issues cutting my hair and I had to wear a hat. So I've decided, as promised, you guys liked the video so that you can see what my hair looks like in this one. So here it goes. Now that we got that out the way, I'd like to talk to you about a concept that I learned a few years ago called compound interest. Now, I learned this concept from some of my favorite YouTubers. Long story short, anyone can become a millionaire by investing at an early age with consistency over a long period of time. So what is compound interest? Compound interest is interest that an investor makes on his original investment, which also includes all of the accumulated interest from previous periods on a deposit. In other words, it's your money making money that's then making money on top of that money, then making money on top of that. Then it repeats that process over and over and over again. Put it this way, $1 invested at the age of 20 years old at a 7% return annually would be worth $21 at the age of 65 years old. But if you wait until 30 years old to invest that same dollar, it would only be worth $10.68 at the age of 65. What that means is your money is worth twice as much if you invest earlier on at the age of 20 than waiting until 30 to start investing. So that's the reason why compound interest is so important and why you should be investing at a very early age. For those of you that's 40 or 50 years old, it's over for y'all. As you can see, compound interest is kind of like a snowball. It starts off really small, but over time, it starts to build up and becomes huge. Now, I can't turn back the hands of time. But what I can do is ask that you hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. What I can also do is talk about my experiences and my mistakes and how I've learned from them so that others can learn from them and hopefully not make those same mistakes. Back when I was 20 years old, I was really cool with one of my coworkers who did not look like me. One day he said to me, he was like, listen, open up a Vanguard account and deposit $10,000 in there. And the way he was talking to me, it was like this is some kind of secret, and I was just really confused. First of all, I'm 20 years old. Where am I gonna get $10,000? I haven't even seen more than $300 in my bank account. But for some reason, a few weeks later, I did go on the Vanguard website. One of the first things that I saw was something called an individual retirement account. Again, I am 20 years old. What am I thinking about retirement for? In my head, I have time. I'm 20 years old. But in hindsight, thinking about what he said now, he gave me sound advice. He basically was telling me to take advantage of my age, the fact that I'm 20, and let compound interest build my money over time. I think the issue is that he kind of turned me off from the idea because I felt like I needed at least $10,000 to start investing. And that is not true. You do not need loads of money to start investing. Start investing with $100, $200. The only important thing is that you do start investing and you start investing early. Luckily, it didn't take me too long after to actually go through with it. It took me a couple years. Now, I left the link in the description below for anyone to start playing around with the compound interest calculator. That way you can explore how much money you would make if you invested your money for a set amount of time. So just out of curiosity and to prove my point, I'm going to show you how much money I would have made if I actually did invest when that guy told me to. I'm not going to be using $10,000 because I would not have had $10,000 at that time. I'm going to use $500, even though I probably still didn't even have that at that time. Okay, so what we have here is the compound interest calculator on investor.gov. In step 1, it asks for an initial investment. Now let's say that we were going to put in that I invested $500 as an initial investment. Now step 2 asks for a monthly contribution, how much I would be putting in monthly. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to keep it simple and say that I only invested $500 for 10 years because I would have done it when I was 20 years old and I am now about to hit 30. Now the next step is the interest rate. Let's just say that we invested that $500 in an S&P 500 index fund. The S&P 500 index fund has historically performed around a 7% return annually. So we're going to go ahead and use 7% for the estimated interest rate. Now step 4 asks for the compound frequency. We're going to go with annually. Now we're going to find out how much money I would have made if I invested $500 into an S&P 500 index fund over 10 years. So as you can see, if I left that $500 in that index fund, I would now have $983.58, which means that I would have made $483.58 for just doing nothing at all. But let's take it a step further. Let's say I deposited $500, but now I started to make a monthly contribution to that $500. Now, as you can see here, the monthly contribution is the amount that I plan to add to the principal every month. Let's say I can only manage to add $10 to the account for every month for the next 10 years. Now let's calculate it and see how much we would make. Now look at that. If you deposit $500 at 20 years old and simply add $10 a month for 10 years, that would come up to $2,641.55. So as you can see, you get what you put in. Obviously, the more money you put in, the more money you get in return. But the moral of the story is to start investing as early as you can. The younger you are, the better it is for you to start learning and understanding finances than putting your money to work intelligently. Do not wait until your mid-30s or 40s to start investing. Because compound interest will kick in at 40 years old, but it's not going to slap like it does when you're 20. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this was very helpful to you and that you can understand the power of compound interest and the importance that you start investing early. Do not waste your time and say, I don't have enough money right now. I'll wait until later to start doing it. Please take this time to start putting your money to work for you right now. Once again, thank you for watching. Feel free to hit that like button and I'll see you next time.